Seguimos en el TM Forum Latin American Summit, segundo día de la cobertura de los vídeos, donde seguimos con el debate sobre la transformación de los operadores en esta etapa crítica que están enfrentando con respecto a la competencia que reciben de muchos sectores, no solo la competencia con otros proveedores, sino una serie de jugadores que están entrando al sector porque las barreras de entrada cada vez se están disminuyendo. Así que seguimos con la cobertura de vídeos, escuchando más opiniones, y contamos con Benedict Enweani, que es el CEO y fundador de una empresa que se llama Ontology. Así que vamos a cambiar al inglés para que él nos cuente un poquito mejor quién es Ontology y el papel que juega Ontology en toda esta transformación que estamos debatiendo estos 2 días en Sao Paulo, que es donde se está celebrando este congreso. Benedict, welcome to Telesemana.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So I was telling the audience that we are discussing transformation. They know because we've been covering this since yesterday with a lot of videos. So I'm not very familiar with Ontology. I must admit that to me this show has been a surprise because I've met some companies that I hadn't met before, that I hadn't seen. You are not the only one that I'm not familiar with at this show. So tell us, who is Ontology, what you guys are doing, and what is your role when it comes to the transformation that the operators need to go through?
Thanks. So Ontology exists because operators, communication service providers each year, and for maybe the last 10 or 20 years, have been struggling to just gather data about customers, about the equipment that they have and the services that bind them together. And each year, they keep reintegrating the same data, and it's a large waste of both time and money. So we were lucky enough to be able to spend some time with the semantics lab started by Tim Berners-Lee, the inventor of the World Wide Web.
Okay.
And investigate, because the founders of Ontology have a history of building OSS and BSS systems.
Well, you are the founder of Ontology, aren't you?
Yeah,
okay.
And myself, my co-founder.
Okay.
So me and Leo.
Okay.
We have a history of this, and we wanted to understand why this integration was a continual challenge. And what we learned in working with the semantics group at Southampton University was that it's not difficult because the data is spread out. It's difficult because the data is misaligned.
It's misaligned.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So when you go to see the services, the products that have been sold to a customer in the CRM,
Yeah.
you get one view. And then when you go to see what's actually implemented in the network, you get a view that doesn't quite match up.
Okay.
And that means that you basically have to manually pull back the information every time. And so we thought, that's a difficult challenge. But we were also struck by one single insight that really also came from some of our friends in the academic community. And they said, the biggest misaligned system in the world isn't AT&T's or Telefonica's or British Telecom's 3,000 OSS and BSS systems. The biggest misaligned data system in the world is the internet.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Nobody integrates the internet. You don't call up, your local integration partner and say, get me a hotel in Sao Paulo for the telemanagement show. If you want to get information about the same things from different sources in the internet, you use search. Right?
Yeah.
And we thought it should be the same for telecommunications operators. You have all these data sources. They really talk about the same things. We should find an intelligent way to classify those things and then search and pull them back and then use the knowledge in those systems. And there's rich knowledge in these systems to align them.
So you are the Google of the telecom networks. Sort of.
Remains to be seen, right?
Okay.
But we've been very successful. We doubled our revenues last year. We began really commercial operations in 2009. We have customers like Telenor, Level 3 Communications, Vodafone, and many more available on the website.
Let me just ask you something very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So you're talking about having a system that sort of, it's easy for systems to communicate with each other, and so you're able to find stuff very quickly.
Yeah.
Now, what is that any different with other companies that we've seen here that they promise the operators to integrate all their systems and make something that it's a layer of software that it's easy to use, that you don't need to train personnel, that anybody can just click and drag and drop and take action to different things that are happening on the network. So what is the value or the differentiation when you mention the internet and that you are kind of bringing the simplification or the intelligence that the internet is using to integrate itself to a network? What is that in different to what others are proposing?
That is the question, right? And the answer is the semantic technology that we use means that we can look at the raw data in those systems. So there's no invasive procedures. There's no integration required. And what that means is that, you know, for Telenor, for instance, we searched across 9 different OSS and BSS systems. That as a transformation would be a huge undertaking. We did it in 18 weeks with 2.5 FTEs, full-time equivalents.
Okay.
So it's a massive compression of time. And where this helps in transformations is the migration of data and the alignment of data that precedes a large transformation is one of the riskiest things that the operator will undertake. Because if they don't get that right, the impact of that will be is tremendous lengthening of the overall undertaking, plus manual efforts at the end to cover the fact that they were missing data at the beginning.
Okay.
Right, and that puts a tremendous, you know, these projects are very expensive, and managing the risk is a very good idea. A good example of where we've helped, for instance, is in the world's largest radio access network consolidation between Hutchison 3G and T-Mobile in the UK, where Ontology was used to actually make sure that the reconfiguration of the RAN network, you know, from 18,000 sites down to 13,000 sites, one of the, you know, a huge saving in terms of consolidation, actually delivered the results that the operators needed and wanted. Right? The other place that Ontology helps, and where there's a huge differentiator, is in the creation of intelligent 360-degree views from the existing OSS and BSS systems. I mean, the investment that's gone into those OSS and BSS systems is astronomical, and if you can get an intelligent view that shows the dependency information, so you know what happens to which customer when you make a change to that, you know, a piece of equipment, and you can do that without having to do integration, do that non-invasively over the top, and do it very accurately from the real raw data, constantly updated, then that's a huge value, and that's the other place where people use our technology.
Okay, we talked yesterday with Claro, which is one of the largest operators here in Brazil, and I was telling him it seems that everybody tries to integrate legacy systems that you have on the BSS and OSS systems, and you're putting layers of software to make sure those systems you don't have to throw them away, but that you're able to come in and say, no, we are throwing them away. So he said, some of our systems, we are just throwing them away, and just try to put one system that will work for now and for the future in terms of consolidating all our systems. Where would you be if operators would, you know, theoretically throw everything away and just consolidate all the OSS, BSS? It's impractical, but would your system still be useful for them?
Yeah, many of our customers, you know, 50% of our business is really about migrations and transformations, and to be able to throw, you know, that legacy system is talking about real customers. Customers aren't legacy; they're paying right now. So you've got to get good information from those legacy systems into that new platform that you want to go forward with, and not getting that information right is leaving, you know, value untapped, right? So much of our work is just about that, but there are so many, you know, smaller systems that perform necessary tasks in the infrastructure. A service provider is not just a business that has a CRM. You know, they also have management systems that control the factory that delivers the service, which is the network itself. And you can't throw those away. Right? And those have data in them that need to be brought back and checked and aligned against the commercial view. And that duality between OSS and BSS is something that needs managing going forward, and we're almost always involved in the migration and then kept to keep the consistency between OSS and BSS systems as the systems run operationally. Okay, well, 5 minutes ago you said something that I think has opened up some new neurological paths in my brain, which is the fact that you said no integration. And, you know, I'm thinking that if you say that to an operator, probably his head would explode. If mine has opened some paths, probably the operator would just blow up completely. So tell us, how come you cannot be integrating your system with, not be invasive, when I think, and I'm going to speak on behalf of the companies that I've spoken, they need to integrate. Somehow they need to be invasive. So tell us, how come you're saying we don't need to do that? Well, this is the purpose of innovation.
Okay.
All right. So you know, the company motto is know it all and search, don't integrate.
Okay.
And I think it's
like I said, you are the Googles for it.
It's just obvious from the internet that you can get massive amounts of information, you can pull them back, you can perform alignment and analysis over that information if you have an intelligent search capability. And the innovation that we've brought forward leverages the work in the semantic web, but takes it further to provide the domain intelligence that lets you classify, customers, entities, equipment, and tie them together with relationships and services. And because we've taken a fundamentally different approach, you have different capabilities. And the system is proved in many operational contexts, and that's what's driving the growth of the company.
Okay. Finally, what is your expectation for the Latin American region in terms of clients, in terms of growth? What are you seeing here?
It's fantastic. We've been involved in, we started commercial operations in about 2009, and over the last year and a half, we've been slowly and now with great certainty moving into Latin America. It's fantastic. We have a history of working in emerging markets. Probably 60% or 60, maybe 70% of the operators in South Africa, for instance, which is another rapidly growing emerging economy, use the Ontology system, and the ability to take up the system quickly really appeals to markets that are growing quickly. So it's great to be here in Latin America, and we see great things.
All right. Well, Benedict, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure.
And good luck with your endeavor in Latin America.
Thank you.
Thanks.